All right, guys.
All right, it's a great episode.
Great episode.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
What's going on, everybody? We'd like to welcome you to our second visual episode of Crown Conversations and Link Up. I'm your host, AJ.
I'm Kayla.
I'm Jenna.
What's up, y'all? I'm Malcolm.
And to the left of me, we have mental health advocate, Sheree Oats.
Hi everyone, I'm Sheree Oats, a mental health advocate, and I'm so excited to be speaking with you all today on mental health, in particular mental health in the Black community.
Thank you for coming.
Yay.
We welcome you.
Thank
On the
you.
couch.
I'm excited. Yes. Come on.
Cheers. It's the fact that she didn't know she was going to be on camera today.
I did it. We'll be here. We're going to make it happen.
Yes, sir. So let's get this show rocking.
Let's do it. So, you're a mental health advocate. If you don't mind, like, just tell us, like, what brought you into being a mental health advocate, especially like in our community?
Yeah, so in 2016, I was diagnosed with depression. Prior to my diagnosis, I actually went on Facebook and put like a Facebook post out there like, hey, really struggling. Does anybody else want to create a group that can like help other people that were struggling? At that time, I didn't know what depression was or even what the symptoms were. And I got a lot of good responses on Facebook, like, hey, I need this too, yada, yada, yada. So in 2016, I created a support group called Not Built to Break on Facebook, and we have almost 700 women of color in the group. So
Awesome.
can you imagine the, just the word now getting out about the importance of mental health, self-care, self-love, and then really understanding it and trying to get help as well. So that's what we provide in the group. We provide resources, live videos. I do a retreat every year. So my personal goal, my personal calling is to spread awareness about mental health in the Black community.
Okay, what made you want to start the retreat?
So the retreat, I think we all see a lot of people having like empowerment seminars,
Brunches.
and things to make money, right? But you can't do all these things if your mind isn't right, if you're broken or you're going through things. So I was like, let me find something where we can just come together, a small, intimate group, and really share what we're going through. It's one thing when you just write it. It's another thing when you're surrounded around other women who are also going through something. And so, I create the group. We go out to the cabins and we're able to unplug, be out in nature, which nature is great for healing. I invite different speakers to come and speak. So we just had one this past weekend in Franklin, Georgia, which was great. It's something that I look forward to doing to ensure that people have a new outlet to express themselves. So.
Now, this retreat, is it done once a year? How do you do it?
Yeah, so I did my first one last November. So this past one I had last week was my second one. I plan to do a mother-daughter retreat in the spring. After my first one, I got a lot of feedback saying, hey, there's a lot of breakdown in my communication or my relationship with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, let's start there. Because we know with depression, a lot of it and a lot of things that we go through can also stem from your childhood traumas that haven't been dealt with.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think it's important to continue having more and then segment it to different types of groups and people and things like that. So
That's really dope, Sheree.
Thank
Like,
you.
for real. I'm really proud of you for doing
Why
that.
did I not know this?
you should know this, Fran. You should.
Why did
I don't know, Fran. I don't know. We gonna come back to you because I reached out to you one time. We gonna talk about that later though. I don't think you remember. Call it out.
Listen.
Let's fix it. You remember?
This is what you do. Okay, so, alright, so yeah, we did you reach out to me? You probably did. It was probably during that time around when my mom died. And I know that a lot of people had reached out, and to everybody who did reach out and I wasn't able to get back with you, I appreciate the condolences and everything, because there was so many people, like, especially like our family who reached out and like really is what helped me pull through, especially like the family here in Atlanta. Like, I swear, if it would have been for y'all, like, even if I read every single message, even if I didn't get a chance to respond, I read every message, and I took heed to everything. And so, I definitely want to tell everybody, thank you for that time.
And I don't know if you remember, that's how you got sort of kind of tight.
Yeah.
Because, like, when your mom passed away, like, I knew of Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know him, but I just can just imagine, losing a parent, how that would feel. So I literally just reach out to him and periodically just check on him.
Yeah.
See how he was doing.
Antonio would check on me a lot too, and I was like, damn, that like really means a lot, because it was times where like I know I was going through it bad.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, like dealing with the death of anyone who's close with you, it's very hard and very difficult to move forward. But it was just different with my mom, and I'll be the first to admit that, like, I went through such bad depression and still go through it now.
Yeah.
And I went through like horrible suicidal phases. And it was something that, like, and when anyone talked about it with me, like, I've always been extremely transparent. Like, I would tell, like, I would like call some boys, like, bro, I'm ready to get out of here. You know, like, and it was just that at that time I didn't know how to deal with it, and I still don't know how to deal with it. You know, I just move forward and I do things that make me happy, but that still is something that that always dwells inside, and always a constant thought, you know. So
Yeah.
I think honestly, the loss of a parent, because I lost my father in 2015.
yeah.
So I think losing a parent I'm not saying it's a good introduction to you realizing your mental health, but it's an introduction to realizing that your mental health is not exactly where it's at. Because when I got the call that I lost my father, I'm thinking it's like, okay, I'm doing my taxes. I was literally doing my taxes, and I knew I hadn't heard from him because we talk every day. I'm a 100% daddy's girl. Like, wherever he was going, I was going. If he was going to the stove, I'm going to the stove. If he's going to the damn corner, I'm going to the corner. So I get a call from my mom, and I knew it was hard for her to tell me because I'm sitting in my room doing my taxes. I'm like, okay, let me see how I can get the government out some more money because I'm a student. And she called me and said, Jenny, you gotta, like, this is her word, Jenny, you gotta come home. I'm like, for what? I'm like, what's going on? Your daddy passed away. I don't know how the phone went from my ear to the floor. I don't know how I ended up outside my apartment. Because you black out. Because you really can't. And then I was by myself when I got the news. So you really can't connect the dots. Because it's just like, well, why didn't I know? Or, and I didn't know he had COPD. He kept that from us. Because had I known he had COPD, I probably would have left school and been like, okay, bye family, see y'all later. I'm going home and figure out what's going on with my dad. So the help of people around me, not only that, but having the understanding of my J school professors, I had to tell them what was going on. I literally missed school for like a week and a half. They knew what I was dealing with, but when you had that support, it's different. Now, the introduction to my mental health was I literally had a panic attack on Lake Bradford going home. I literally had to pull over into the Popeyes parking lot. And I was like, well, what in the hell is going on? Because I don't know how to deal with the fact that my heart's beating fast, I'm sweating, I'm losing focus on what I really need to be focused on. So I think that turned into a 2-week situation of me missing class. Because I didn't feel like being around people. I didn't feel like associating myself with the conversation of, oh, how you feeling? And me snapping, saying, you know how the fuck I'm feeling. Like, because you, like I said, when you lose a parent, you don't feel like having them simple conversations. Because one is just like, I really don't want you in my business like that.
Right.
I'm only down here now. And it's crazy because I had drinks. I went to top flight.
Yeah.
Literally came back and went straight to top flight because I just wanted to have a drink and wanted to let loose and not think about the fact that I don't have my father anymore. Yeah. And so it's just like it was a lot to deal with. So I can completely relate to.
It is, and I think when it happens in that particular situation, because it's hard to talk to other people because the smallest little thing that they can say will set you off,
right?
Because with my mom, I hadn't dealt with a lot of other people who had lost their mothers. So like when I died, everybody, they want to be there for you and you appreciate it. But then when it's like, oh, like people saying stuff like, oh, Jesus picked his prettiest flower. That's the absolute wrong shit to say. I don't know. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that about Jesus picked his prettiest flower. That type of stuff is like, nah. And so like a person who's never lost a parent, they can feel you, but they can't feel you. Because it's different when it's your mother or your father. That ain't your cousin, your brother, like it's different. And my mom was like the glue to our entire family, distant family. My dad's like, she was the glue.
Yeah.
You know, and so like for me, I lost she was the one everyone went to for advice, for everything. And so like the fact that I lost her, and I'm like, damn, like at 46, and she died 2 days before her 47th birthday. Like I was literally in the midst of like packing a bag to go down. We were throwing a surprise party for her back at home. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm already knowing. So when that night, I got that call that night, you know, I had already knew it was going.
And it's not something that you just get over.
No.
Yeah, it's not something. It's like you'll never get over it. Like sometimes I hear a certain song when I'm driving and I cry because it's like you don't literally never gonna get over it. So if I ever hear the Eagles Hotel California and y'all see me disappear, you know why I damn disappeared. So it's something. Yeah.
Mine is Mary J. Blige Sweet Thing.
Yeah, like it's certain stuff. It's certain triggers that'll have you think back. And I'm not just saying this if you lose a parent. It's just anybody that you was close to. You know, somebody died. It's not something that you want to continuously discuss. It's kind of like, okay, well, y'all know what it is. I ain't gonna keep discussing this with y'all. Unless we're close. Like, my close friends know, like, on Father's Day, leave me alone. Don't even call and check on me, see if I'm breathing. But other than that, I'm chilling.
So I have a question for you, or for both of you, in regards to, like, you know, dealing and coping, you know, with the loss of your parent. Like, have you guys thought to seek like professional help, like to try to work through those emotions and try to
It was a thought.
deal?
I don't think I ever thought to seek professional help, only because I figured out a way to manage.
My thing is, you know, when it comes to like mental health and things like that, I really admire and respect people who can recognize that something is wrong and then want to go get help to be better. I feel like that's much better than somebody like, oh, I got it, I can handle it on my own. You can't, because if you think about it, like as a person, you come in contact with so many different people, so many different personalities, and sometimes you carry the weight of those people unknowingly.
Yeah.
And that can start to weigh on you. And I really feel like with our generation, like the millennials, we're starting to break those generational curses where we don't mind speaking in open spaces about mental health or speaking about going to a counselor or a therapist to get that help.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say is this. I went to Sunshine Manor on FAMU's campus. And it's crazy because when you go and you have that resource, I literally sat in that office, told her what was going on, and it was like a blank, like nothing, no help, no type of like, okay, well, she literally asked me the dumbest question I've ever heard. Like, I forgot the question, but I just knew it was dumb.
You remember the feeling?
Yeah, I know I felt dumb, because I'm just like, hey, let me stand here and told you my dad passed away, I'm having a panic attack, and she like asked me something like, well, did you talk to your professors about it? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, like, let me leave, because it was...
Because you're talking crazy.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you supposed to be here to professionally help me deal. So after that, it was like... You lose hope, you kind of don't want to deal with having it. I'm not saying I won't go and ask for professional help, but that was my first nasty taste of it. Because I don't know what to say to somebody, because I never had a therapist before. So I don't know what to say. I don't know how to introduce myself. I don't know how to start the conversation. So when I say, oh, my dad passed away and I just feel overwhelmed, what can I do? And the first thing you say is, have you talked to your professors about it? Like, I don't even want to come back and talk to you no more, because these professors can't help me, and I got a 10-page paper due in 3 days, and I just got back, and I feel like I'm finna sit up here and wreck my car, and you, so that
happens. I think that happens when you have an experience. Say the first time therapist, and you have a certain expectation of what you're gonna get. Like, I'm gonna go to this therapist, and it's just gonna be. And sometimes you just don't click with everybody, just like with friends. You know, you just don't click. So I just hope that it doesn't turn you off from one day seeking one. And for anybody else, like if you don't find that right person, to keep going until you find that good match. It is a relationship.
And I think sometimes people look at it as like, oh, that's a therapist, but like, nah, it's like dating. You literally have to fish for the right one. It might take you. Some people find the right therapist the first go round. Some have been through 10, but when you find the one that's that one for you, and you have to, like, you'll know because a lot of them will BS you around, and you're like, this is not it. Like, this isn't it. And then when you do find that one, it's like, didn't you? All right, what's up?
So you're gonna go back and you're gonna Fine.
Yeah, like I don't have a problem with trying to. I just honestly like I made excuses like work all the time and this and that, but it has been something that I've been wanting to do, and I'm like, cause I'm not against it. I'm not against it, but I do want to find one who has lost their parent as well.
Yeah. I think
to be real, like I'd rather talk to someone who lost their parent than for someone. Oh, I know how you feel. My best friend, granddad died, and he was like my dad. I don't want to talk to you. Right. You know, you finna piss me off.
And let me say this, I admire you because when I was kind of hinting that I had reached out to him, I think it was some months after your mother had passed.
Yeah,
I didn't know you, I just know we had followed each other on social media. And I reached out to him because I think you were pretty transparent in some of your suffering, right? So I think you had something, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it raised concern in my mind because you were like, I haven't been sleeping, I haven't been, so in my mind,
I hadn't been to sleep. I had actually wrote a song to it. I was like, I hadn't been sleeping like 6 days.
Yeah.
I literally stayed up for 6 days straight, not sleep 1 hour for 6 days.
Yeah.
And then I started going crazy because the lack of food, sleep, everything. And I'm like, I've always been extremely transparent. Like, even before my mom passed, like, I've always been extremely transparent. I was never one of them guys who like, I'm how I feel. If I feel suicidal, I'm going to state it. If I feel depressed, I'm going to state it. If I'm angry, I'm going to state exactly how I feel. So when that happened, anybody how I feel, I'm gonna give it to you raw. This ain't like I'm a strong individual, but you know, even strong people have a breaking point. And for me, when my mom passed, that was it. And they always say like you're born twice. Like once when you're born and once when your mom dies or parent dies. You're literally born again. Like I don't feel the same. I don't think the same. Things don't smell the same. Even certain colors aren't as bright anymore.
Because when you say you didn't sleep, I didn't have a menstrual cycle for 2 months.
That's intense.
So I just like my body just turned. Your body just go left.
So Sheree, I have a question for you. Like you said, you were diagnosed in 2016. Like, what were the symptoms? What were the signs? What were the things that you knew that you were going through to know that you needed to seek like extra help?
Yeah, so one thing I did know at the time that I found out was that depression can be hereditary. No idea, right? So like that can be passed down. Like who knew? Yeah. So I went to the doctor because, you know, I was right out of college at, you know, I think I'd been living here almost 3 years at that time. But I felt like in my job, I wasn't where I thought I was going to be, what I was going to be doing graduating college. I'm in a new city, not really knowing everybody. And I just felt like I kind of just got lost. I was coming from, you know, Florida A&M, you know, all these people, you surround your friends, and then that life that I once knew was no longer there. So I'm like, now I got to find like, who am I? So because I was experiencing a lot of challenges on my job, I think that also took a toll on me mentally. And almost feeling like I had to live up to a certain expectation from my parents, from friends that I felt like even I wasn't living up to, but they may have felt like I was living up to. So I felt a lot of pressure to be a certain person that I just didn't really want to. I didn't really want to be the known person. I just wanted to just be in my little bubble. But that caused me to eat a lot, gain weight, and I was just extremely unhappy. So I was like, I know this is not normal, so I'm just gonna go see a therapist and not a therapist, I'm gonna go to the doctor. I just went to my regular doctor and say, hey, I'm whatever. And when you go, they give you like a questionnaire. They ask you, do you cry? Are you crying at random times? Are you having trouble sleeping? You know, so they went down the list and I was like, yes, yes, yes. And I was like, I shocked myself. Like, I didn't realize I was that. I didn't realize I had all these symptoms. And she was like, okay, so we're gonna diagnose depression. We're gonna get you on Wellbutrin. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is a lot. Because at the time, nobody was talking about depression. Like, I knew it ran in my family, but I'm like, me, depression? Like, everyone thinks my life is great. And that was the other thing, too. People think depression or a mental illness is supposed to look a certain way. And it doesn't. It has no face. It has no race. It has no social status. It is what it is. And so after I left the office, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to find a different support group. And even with like kind of telling it to my parents, they were just kind of like, you know, their generation, they like depression. Like, what? You're not supposed to have it. You got a good job. You went to college. You did this. That was exactly what it was.
You ain't got nothing to worry about.
You don't have nothing to worry about. And I tell people too, a lot of times depression does come from tragedy, but sometimes it doesn't have to be anything major.
Right.
Sometimes people think you have to have gone through experience or whatever. And it's, you know, you may have some people that have lost a parent. They never went through depression. And some, you know, so it just hits people differently. So I made it my mission to be I call myself the face of it, because I'm no longer afraid to stand in my truth. And you know, you're in my group, so I'm just like, this is what it is. This is what it is. I can't change it. I can manage it better. I know when we talked about seasonal depression, so right now I know, all right, these feelings kind of creeping back in. So I've had that recently where I'm like, something ain't quite aligning like it was. So I've had to take a step back from social media. I've had to just kind of tune back into my feelings. But a lot of times that seasonal depression that we talked about, it gets cold outside.
It gets cold. It gets cold everywhere.
It's
cold outside, but everything is cold. Everything is at a standstill.
We need that sun anyway. So when we ain't getting sun, we literally start shutting down.
This weather is not, you know, because if you're already feeling gloomy on the inside and you go outside and it's gloomy, it's like, okay.
There's no sun.
There's no sun. You got the holidays coming up, so holidays can be, for various reasons, can be very hard for people. We don't think about that, right? So I'm glad that we're here talking about it and, you know, expressing what we've all gone through personally, because, especially our Black men, right? Because I think that is so important. So kudos to you.
I was just thinking that, but like, and I was thinking earlier when you were like, you know, it doesn't have a face, and that's so true, because a lot of times a lot of people around us are depressed, and we have no clue. But one reason is that, like, we have been conditioned for years, for a long time, to hide that, and especially within the Black community, and even more specifically within Black men, because we all back. I know for me, and I, you know, like we're taught to not be emotional and not be so expressive and control your emotions. Luckily for us, like my mom always was. She wasn't one of those people like, you got to be so tough where you can't cry. Like, and so like now, like me and my brothers, I never have no problem with showing our emotion or letting someone know exactly how we feel. Like it's always been that way. But as far as Black men as a whole, we don't show emotion, and it's like, why? Why don't we talk and be like? I know for me and mine, I'll hit my guys up and be like, hey, how are you feeling? Instead of what's good, bro? You know, not like I hit you up, bro. How you feeling today? Like I ain't asking like how are you feeling today? Like how you doing right now? Or like I'll call like my boy Woo. I'll call Woo like, and he called me all the time. Like Woo called me, he'll be, bro, I just called to holler at you, bro. Like, let you know I love you, bro.
That's genuine.
I think the occasional friend check-in is fine.
It's very important.
Yeah, like you have to.
And it's crazy because I didn't really pay attention to that until I realized that I don't do it as much. And I didn't want to turn into a tit for tat thing, but it was just like,
you don't call me, so I'll call you.
Yeah, and that's honestly where I'm at with it, to be honest.
Sometimes
with
you
you.
have to do that.
I'm not even gonna, I can't deny.
Now it's circumstantial because you might be in a position where it's like, no, they
people will always want you to check on them, but are you checking on me because I might have the same situation going on, but you ain't asked, and I'm not volunteering.
And you know how y'all girls be.
Exactly.
That's the same thing.
So I think the occasional friend check, like I have friends now that I don't have to talk to them every day, but since we've been friends so long, I have a friend literally. I have a best friend literally from elementary school, middle school, high school. I don't have to talk to them every day. But when I check in and say, hey, just checking on you, make sure you're alive, or I might be like, you know, hey girl, what's going on? I don't care I literally care what's going on, but you don't have to go into a spiel. Like I just want you to know I love you. And that's sometimes
honestly, that's literally what helps, and it helped me out a lot. And it was times like it would be like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting outside going through it. And one of my boys would randomly call me. And I'm like, it's so crazy that you call me that boy.
I like to work on my
like you don't even know what was about to go down. I'm glad that you called me. He's like, bro, like I just want to let you know I love you. And I'm like, bro, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Why did you just randomly call me? And it made me feel so much better. I'm like, you don't even know what you just did. Like what you just stopped. Like,
it's just, I think that was my New Year's resolution this year, just to randomly tell my friends I love you. Because I don't say I love you. I really don't. It's weird. It's
for real?
I literally.
I'm the exact opposite. I tell my guys I love them more than I tell the women. I tell my boys I love them. I tell them every day.
Yeah, I don't. It's just. It's not like my parents didn't tell me. It's just I don't express it. So I'm not gonna say say I love you after every phone call. So I got a homegirl, Taylor. Taylor will literally make me say I love you before I get off the phone.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just like I can't. And, you know, I'm like, girl, it's not that damn deep. Like girl, I'm calling you tomorrow.
For some
like
people, it is that deep, but I think that also ties into like some people don't come from affection. Like I am not. Y'all know me. I don't like hugging. You know, I'll tell you, and I'll say it.
Everybody hug me.
I give you hugs,
but she got that comfortable.
I give it a real church hug, but it's like for me, like that is a huge thing. Like that's affection. You know what I mean? Like that's. I'm not affectionate in moments where I need to be, and that whole like you call your friends, you let them know you love them.
Yeah.
I might not say that
every day.
all the time. I might tell you I'm better with words, so I might text it to you, but I might not say it out loud. But I think
get on my nerves.
It works for her because honestly,
that's what works. Like
people will sit up there and say, "Julie, you so friendly," but at the end of the day, like I'm not coming up to getting no hug. Like it's just
because that's not how it works.
I need my space.
So,
go ahead.
No, so to piggyback off of like, somebody who doesn't come from affection now, like my mom is like extra affectionate.
Yeah.
Because she came from affection, but my dad, he's not. Yeah. It's so funny, like, I can tell that when I go to hug my dad, he don't know, like, he don't know how to maneuver. He'll be like, no, for real, like, it's like we doing
away from me right now.
The robot. It'd be like,
For real, no, like my daddy, my daddy's so emotional. Like he is probably one of the most emotional gangsters I know. Like he's so emotional.
Yeah, I heard Malcolm talk to his dad on the phone, and his dad said, "I love you" like 3 times.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like me and my daddy got the closest relationship, and I love him. Like he one of my dudes. Like he sent me a picture sent me some pictures this morning. I'm like, it was cold as hell this morning, and he gonna send me these pictures of Jaguar he just bought. So it get cold outside. You go drop a new Jaguar. It's dope. I love you. I'm rocking with it. And we text just like that. And we talk to each other. We FaceTime. But my daddy gonna always make it his mission to where like I love you. And I tell him all the time because it's been like that situation that happened with me the other night. Mm-hmm. He been through that too. And so I be like, hey, G, be safe out there. And he be like, hey, you too, bro. And I'm like, I fuck with him because of that. Because I'm like, damn, like when I look at my daddy, I see so much of myself in him. I'm like, even out of my brother, me and him so like that like
I think as you get older, your relationship with your parents gradually becomes like for some, because I get paid over. For some, your relationship.
I mean, if we have an honest conversation, like let's
get into it.
I want to talk about Malcolm and his relationship with his dad. Like, I wish I had that with my dad. Like, I know my dad loves me. Like, my dad loves me how his mother loved him. Like, my dad feels like as long as I have everything I need, if I don't want for anything, I'm good. He's showing his love. Like, I can count on my one hand the many times that my dad has told me he loved me. But I know that he does. He's just not expressive.
I gotta throw my hands up today.
Yeah, he's just not expressive like that.
But that's different.
But with your story, it makes me want to just be like, I'll do better on my part, just to be like,
because now
I love you.
Now I'm gonna be real with you, Antonio. I don't want you to look at it as like my daddy always been that, because like we haven't always. Because I remember, as boys growing up, like I said, I'm so much like him. So like. How I be rah and so ready to fight. He like that too, but he just got to the age where he physically you finna stand in the paint with me, and so like we haven't always had that relationship, but I always respected him. It just got to a point where like as a man, like I'm seeing different views, but just because I'm your son, I can have different views from you, but don't mean I'm disrespecting you. And if you got different views, gee, I respect that. Mm-hmm. And so like now, man, he'll talk about everything. Like, and we, he come to top flight. When he come to Tallahassee, he come to top flight with me and go crazy. Mm-hmm. And we had our relationship, and it's like, even sometimes in the morning, I think the easiest way to do that is when somebody run across your mind. And for me, when my daddy run across my mind, I'm gonna do it right then and there. If I don't, 3 months gonna go by and I ain't talking.
I think honestly, it can have an adverse effect because it's just like, well, shit. Where am I finding this reinforcement from, this love from? Because if I don't have it from my parents and I'm looking at somebody else that don't have it, then how do I get it?
Yeah.
And that's why I admire Kayla, because I mean, she got a 4-year-old, so it's just like, she don't have a good
And she
relationship.
have to have a different relationship with
No,
her.
I mean, it's cool. Like, it's just kind of going off what you said earlier, even off camera before we started recording, like that, it comes from childhood things that we don't unpack. So when we become adults, like, shit, all of us are creeping up on 30, and it's things that happened when we was 9 that we didn't talk about. You know what I mean? Like, so like I have to. It's kind of like the opposite for me. So me and my mom have always had like a rocky relationship. And then like my dad, like my birth father, like when I was a kid, he was not as available as I needed him to be. But now that I'm an adult, he calls all the time, and I'm very overwhelmed because I'm like, when I need it.
Now you doing the most.
But now he calls all the time, and I'm like, what's happening? Did he have a life crisis?
And I bet, since he was a little bit absent with you, he's extra caring with Gabby.
Extra, like, and this ain't,
Yeah,
like, I mean,
he gonna be like that, because that's it.
yeah, and
But
it's
see, a lot of some parents, they care more about the grandchildren than they do
but
about their own
that's
children.
their way of being like, oh my God, because like with my grandparents, I used to sell my mom and dad and my stepdad out. Because I used to be like, yo, like my grandparents are amazing. Like, you know, like you guys, it can never compare, but like how you guys talk about like, you know, losing a parent, like when my grandfather passed, I was 12 years old and he was in the house. And the whole summer I spent with him, he had cancer since like 1992 and he didn't tell us until 2 weeks before he died. He was dealing with cancer. And I was like, I was just riding around and getting it with my granddad like the whole summer, and it was just like he was gone. So like, and I've never got a chance to unpack that because I had to witness everybody else go through it, and I had to be the strong one as a 12-year-old. So I'm watching my mom, my grandma, my aunts, everybody cry, and I'm like, nobody gave me an opportunity to cry. But then now, like, you know, and I've never gotten a chance to,
But see, and that was at like, what you say, 12
I was
years
12
old?
years old, I'm 28.
But that's
like,
why I always be saying, like, people be so quick to want to get in relationships to build, but I put that on Twitter the other day. You have to heal before you build.
Yeah.
A lot of people be getting in these relationships, and you still dealing with shit you was dealing from as a child, and you haven't addressed it.
Like, that's not. It's sometimes it's not. As people can say, like it's your responsibility to heal, but sometimes it's not. Like sometimes it's your parents' responsibility to have that conversation with you.
And for them to take accountability, because sometimes all you need to hear is them say, "That's all I need to do to hear."
Yeah, like
That's
I
all
don't
I
need you
to
to
hear.
apologize. I just need you to acknowledge the fact that you get it, or like you're listening, or that you acknowledge that, and that when you talk about like depression being generational, you know what I mean? That's what it is. Like you watch it, watch it happen, and then when it hits you, you're like,
well, because when I look at it, how can a person who's broken raise a completely fixed person? Like, if you broken, and especially if you raised in a household where the mama broken, the daddy broken, both of them have mental health issues, guess what they're gonna do to the child? Like, how can you fix me and you can't fix yourself?
No, I wouldn't say. I kind of disagree with that because like I'm a mom now, so like now my major mission is to make sure that I do not use my brokenness to raise my child.
I can see that.
Like I make sure that. Seriously, like
No,
I make sure that we have open dialogue. She's 4, but you.
I do say that too. I respect you to the utmost for that.
And you know, like no matter like what I go through with my mother, like she was never a bad mom. She might not have handled things emotionally the way I needed her to for me, but I take that and I flip it with my own child.
And
like,
what I say about my mom is she can be very overwhelming as far as the emotion side. Like she can feel her kids on a whole nother level. I think that's where I get that clairvoyant stuff from. It might be
Jenna's a clairvoyant.
I'm telling y'all. So she can feel her kids. Like I have a brother in North Carolina. She'll know when something's wrong with him. And I'm like, girl, ain't nothing wrong with him. Like, I'm just, cause that's how I show love. Like I'm jovial. I'm just, girl, ain't nothing wrong with him. Like, he alright, but then she'll call and be like, baby, okay? Then he'll start spilling. I'm like, damn, something really was wrong with him.
But how do just as people, as we transition into that conversation, like how do we allow ourselves to deal with our own things, but also have an open heart and an open ear to our friends?
So I would say, just to go back to the parents thing, one thing I learned from therapy was that our parents also went through things.
Yeah.
And they also are experiencing things that we have no idea about. And so my therapist has helped me realize well, Sheree, maybe your mom isn't like this because her mom wasn't like that either, right? So then I started to see the connection of how my parents were and how that has showed up in my family life, and I'm able to offer my mom a little bit more compassion. I'm able to offer her a little bit more grace because I know in her generation, they didn't go to therapy. They're fortunate now.
They went to church.
They went to church.
My mom is in her 40s.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's funny because my mom is 65.
Yeah.
And my grandmom, she wasn't affectionate. Mm-hmm. So now my mom, she's when she hugs me, I'm like,
she's super affectionate.
She's not super affectionate, but when she's in that mood to like be, jovial and affectionate, I be looking at sis like, okay, what's going on? What we gonna do?
See, like my mom doesn't talk.
No, I feel like how you said like your mom's mom wasn't a super. I feel like our parents, that generation, I don't know what generation it was, they was not on that affectionate shit.
That's so strange to me though.
They will beat your ass, but they not on that affectionate shit.
I don't know. I don't know.
My mom's mom.
My mom was born in the 70s.
My mom's mother wasn't affectionate toward her, but she, like I said, when they get to them damn grandkids, they soften up.
Yeah, because my grandparents are amazing.
They other one too.
I'm not gonna sit up here and say my mama just doesn't know how to show it. She shows it well. It's just, but sometimes she can get overwhelming. Like sometimes, like I'm big on I'm big on space. Like I need my space sometimes. And we already stand in the house together. You upstairs, I'm downstairs, and we say stuff like, "Well, I can't say nobody gonna come down here and talk to me, lady. I live in the house with you." Just say what you got to say.
At this time getting old, then you want somebody.
It's like she wants me around her, and I'm like, sometimes I don't want to be around you. I just want to be in my room. I think the other day she was like, she said, "Jill, you okay?" I said, "Yeah, what's up? You just don't have enough energy." I was like, what? Can I be burnt out for a minute? Like
You can't though, because they don't understand.
That's a totally she's not used to me being burnt out. Like I was literally burnt out for like 3 days. And I was just in my bed, in my room, doing clothes, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it.
But the thing about it is that when you tell somebody like you're burnt out, you're tired, you don't know what time it is.
Yeah,
I know what it is.
That's the conversation with depression though. Like that's generational. Like that's the conversation about depression. You don't know. Back in my day, and I was going.
It's like you can't compare
because
we going through. Y'all didn't have social media, cyberbullying like we have. We got. It's just that like every generation have a new set.
Cheers.
Dog, y'all.
Okay, because it's always these two. It's always these two.
Yo.
All right now. All right.
But all jokes aside, so like when it comes to that, like every generation has its own set of problems and new problems that they face. And so like, of course the generation before us, and especially like our grandparents' generation, like they didn't have social media. So it wasn't, they didn't have the pressure, they didn't have the pressure of social media and all that bull crap. But it's like, yeah, we didn't have to deal with getting dogs sick on us and stuff, but we had to deal with other stuff. So
that's intense.
That's
intense.
No, I'm saying that's different. But the thing is like a lot of times what killed the mental most is the stuff that you can't see because it's not alarmed like that. They were being traumatized a different way. We're being traumatized a whole other way that's invisible. So it's almost. I'm not going to compare it, but what I'm saying is. It's a difference between physical slavery and being enslaved. Enslaved is mental.
Yeah.
You know, that's a mental thing. And that's what makes enslavement worse is because it's not recognizable, it's not as recognizable.
Yeah. But I think what I'm going to also say is I'm not trying to say if my mother or my parents, I was raised by 2 strong ass individuals. So being raised by a strong black woman, like I've never seen her cry for real unless it was at a funeral. Or I never seen, well, I seen her cry when somebody stole $3,000 on her car. But, hell, I cry too, somebody stole. But, like, being raised, I think as women, when we're raised by strong individuals, true strong individuals, like, I understand, anybody can walk around here and be like, yeah, my mom was a strong black individual. But when you see your mom go out every day, get $1, come back, make sure her kid's straight, make sure she got to deal with because at one point, my father wasn't in the house. My father was battling the crack addiction. And that's what a lot of people won't know. So, like for 7, 8 years, he wasn't in the house. So when you see your mama having to make sure you doing straight in school, you got an older brother making sure he all right. He already coming into his adolescence, so he in the streets running, doing what he got to do. It's like now I look at her and I'm like, well, damn, I got to be strong too, so I can't cry
You can empathize.
in public. Yeah, I can feel like I feel like I do a good job at that sometimes, but it's like it's like honestly, when I was growing up, if I was crying, she wouldn't say, stop that crying. She wouldn't say like, she like, what the hell you crying for? Like, you have to like, go do it in your room, come back out, we gonna figure this shit out, and we gonna go, and I still do that. Like I can put on the front in public, like I'm okay. Sometimes I'm not okay, sometimes I go in that room and be like, hey.
Okay, so now when you say like, you could put on the front, that kind of circles into like, we getting into, when we talk about seasonal depression.
Yeah.
We getting into the holidays.
Yeah.
And we going to visit our families. And we going through shit, and we depressed, or like we stressed out.
Yeah.
Are you putting on the front at the Thanksgiving table? Are you putting on the front?
Because you don't want people in your business.
It's not that, and then also usually around holiday time, like, well, I'll speak for me. Like for me, I'm going back home where the majority of my family is. So of course, holiday time is usually like, happy, everybody happy, lovey, happy. So if you come into the motherfucking Thanksgiving dinner around your turkey, macaroni and cheese, talking about
bro on the Prince.
You know what?
They gonna be like,
I'm not even gonna sit here and make fun with you. You won't know in my family some shit going on until some alcohol is involved, and now all of a sudden somebody done got triggered, and now the damn dinner over because you triggered somebody that said something crazy.
How common is that though?
That's very common. So shit get real more
and that's just like that's just another thing that we have to like unpack and uncover. Like we have and deal with all these things, but we don't feel comfortable enough talking about them until like alcohol is involved.
But you can talk about it to a therapist, but why not talk about the people that you share a lineage with?
Because some people don't know how to take accountability.
I don't know that it's that crazy.
Now, also with
me.
Now with me, some of my family members I don't fuck with. So
Yeah,
if I'm
and
upset
that's
and crying, if I got something personal going on, nigga, you want to fuck
I'm
me
not
up.
gonna tell her.
Yeah,
Like I get it.
I get that. I don't fuck with some of them.
Those are people you want to speak to. You
Yeah,
want to be able to sit down and have that conversation.
You know what I mean? Like you the people we supposed to be building with is our family, and it's like you want to see success. Supposed to, but it's like we come home and it's like, oh.
And I think we gotta be careful too on who you express that to, because not everyone can give you sound advice. Like sometimes we go to our friends and we thinking our friends are gonna have this good, but
You said so.
You can be looking for advice, support, but you have to remember too, not everyone knows how to respond to you telling them something bad, right? Because you can easily ask them, oh, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing okay. Oh my God, you're just doing okay. Well, you're not great. And I'll look at it like, shit, doing okay is pretty good. I'm doing just okay. Like, all right,
I'm just doing just okay. I'm okay.
That's good.
Yeah,
But then again, you can ask some people that, and they're not gonna really tell you what they're going through. So sometimes I don't feel like you have to select who those people are that you feel like you can really trust with your feelings, and sometimes you don't really need them to give you advice, you just need them to listen. So I have identified those people in my life because I know it's not gonna be my mama. Sorry, mom, love you to death. It's just it's not gonna be you because I'm your daughter, and you never want to see me hurt. So as soon as I say I'm hurting, you gonna ask me all these questions. You gonna try to figure out. I don't need you to do that. I just need you to be here. So that's why I think exactly. That's why I think just like we got doctors when we sick, we go to the dentist when we get our teeth cleaned. Everybody should have a therapist on the roster. Me personally, I think everyone should have, because no one, who else is gonna help us navigate this crazy world? We hope that our friends can, but they're our friends because they're like-minded.
Yeah.
So you don't think
you got some people who like they're the perfect person to talk to, and it's like they be on point and help pull through it. Not everybody. Yeah, not everybody, of course, but we got some individuals who ain't got no degree in it, and for real, they better to talk to anyone else.
You just have to identify those people, and they may not be your closest. Like sometimes we
Cause one thing about it is sometimes the people who are closest to you, the absolute worst, talk to you.
Trash.
And it's not a bad thing. You just know that they not.
That's discernment.
That's discernment. You just know you my friend, you my homegirl, but I
Like, you got certain partners who you won't go to the club.
I was literally about to say that. You have to recognize that you have certain people.
We friends because of this reason.
I got friends that I can kick it to the club with. I got friends that I can just, we go out to eat. I got friends that know my deepest, darkest, that I know that they'll take it to the grave. Yeah, like, and the same thing for me. And like you said, discernment. We have to know, because just say you indulge or, think you have a friendship and you feel like everybody is sharing equal space, and then you have a falling out or you hear about your business in the street. You ready? I'm going to fight.
Yeah.
Cause I literally.
But now that I'm a shooter.
We gonna shoot. Pow pow. But now, like, literally, like, if I bring you in and if I cry in front of you and I'm able to just tell you my business, I'm broke, I ain't got no money, I'm hungry. Yeah. And then you turn your back on me.
I fed that nigga when he was hungry.
Right.
But that's just like that's their character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's their own personal.
And that's the good thing with having a therapist. Like for me, I can't. Like I was seeing mine twice a week, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to run and tell her this. Like in my mind, she was like a friend, because I knew if I was dating someone, I knew if they did something, I couldn't really go to my friends because it's going to change their perception on how they think about this person, right? Because they know me and they know him, and it's just messy. But my therapist, though, girl, let me tell you what. And then she gives me a different perspective on how to look at things. Where my mind at one point may have acted in this, but she's like, Sheree, maybe consider reacting like this. Or she always tells me, why does that bother you so much? And then I go back and I do that soul search and I do that childhood. And she's like, oh, that's because someone bumped up against a wound that you thought was healed, but it ain't really been healed. So anytime someone bumps up against it and it's not healed, oh, you're going to have a fit. And I'm like, I didn't even know that was a wound that hadn't been healed yet.
Now, I have a question for you. When you were in search for your therapist, was it important? Is your therapist black?
Yes.
Was it important for your therapist to be black? Did you have certain guidelines? You wanted to be a woman? Did you want her to be black?
Yes.
What were you looking for?
Yeah, so I actually found my therapist when I was looking for speakers for my first retreat. And at that time, I didn't really think I needed a therapist. But after my first conversation with her, I was like, ooh, you right. Because I kind of was on, I can just handle it myself. Like I know the doctor said I got the support group. But I had not really dealt with the deep issues that were underlining why I was behaving or why I thought the way I thought. So for me, I did want a black woman, and it just so happened that she was. Now, am I open to other people? Yes, because now I see the thing with therapists is that they're not going to necessarily have the same commonalities as you. But it doesn't mean that they can't be as helpful to you in your situation, because this is something that they learn. They practice grieving and different things. So although they may have not necessarily gone through it, they can still give me the tools I need to be successful, or they can still coach me on how to be successful. And I think we in the black community now, we do want people that look like us, and the unfortunate thing is there's not a lot of us in that field. So are you going to have to be open to other? Absolutely. If you're able to find one, great. But I always tell people to be open, because there's not a lot of black men in therapy that are therapists or counselors. There's black women, but there's just not a lot compared to the other races. So I always tell people, do what works for you, but don't let someone's gender just stop you at the door, because you really never know their story either. Right? So yeah, that was important for me.
That's good. But I think that's good for you guys, just as men.
If I had a therapist, I wouldn't want a man. I would want a woman.
You know, I feel that way about doctors.
To me,
I like male doctors.
No, I need
I need women doctors, but like when it comes to like therapists, like I'm open. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what gender you are. To me, I ain't even looking at your face, because we could be like how they be increasing them.
It's like a
they can sit
confessional.
in the room.
Yeah, it's like a
It could be a
confessional.
wall between us. I need to hear that voice, and I need to know that some ears are listening to mine.
I'm just a little leery. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like as far as like doctors or even a therapist, it could be a man, but you gotta be a person of color. Straight because when you leave this office, I don't know if you hit it to the KKK meeting or not. So I'm dead ass. I'm dead the fuck serious.
I be watching Watchmen.
Because I be thinking about, like there's literally doctors who are caring for your health who literally don't give a fuck about black people. I need somebody who I know down. And that's brown.
But
why wasn't they vaccination ain't in my vaccination?
Yeah.
We ain't gonna get in that, but yeah. So, but I agree with you. I do agree with you that like I do prefer
person of color.
Straight up. But only because I know that like
A person of color or black? Because that's
I prefer black.
Let's say black.
Like
because,
me.
You know, that's just being thrown around a lot.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so you that person of color.
A person
I
of
just want to
color.
know who can identify with me.
In the struggle.
In the
Okay.
Period. Like who identifies with me the most, but then I don't want to go to the point where like you identify with me so much that you're biased towards.
That's why I'm
You have the same bias.
You have to be
You
careful
don't want
with
to
that.
And so that's why
Right.
I'm gonna say.
I'm saying, I mean, I don't want no therapist that absolutely gets me from she from Detroit. You know what I mean?
You right.
No, I'm not even being funny, but you
right.
but you don't want nobody that understands it so much that they don't give you sound advice. If
Right.
Like, okay, well,
Got it.
go beat that bitch up.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
and there's a link. There's therapyforblackgirls.com where people can go online and you can put in your address, your zip code, and you can find women therapists. But you can find. I mean, it lists all of them.
I suggest that to my
Can
male
I-
friends
can
all
I-
the time.
Yes, anybody
Absolutely.
can do it, and I think
And
it's
what is it
something for
called?
men. It's called therapyforblackgirls.com.
Therapyforblackgirls.com.
So you put in your zip code here, and it drops down all the therapists that are in your area. I know some males, so if y'all, but again, that's something that's needed for males too, right? Like therapy for black men, right? So you can see all of that, all the different people. But
Are they cute?
similar to,
Nah,
I'm just playing.
but similar to like, I'm not looking to go.
I'll be like,
You know, and that's
I
it's
just wanna
important to
know.
people.
Yeah.
It's important to people.
But
Yeah, I mean,
that is a great resource,
It is
though.
a
Honestly,
great
like I
resource.
suggest it to my male friends as well.
Therapyforblackgirls.com. That's my first time hearing it. So.
Really? Yeah, it's
Definitely check
a
it out.
wonderful resource.
They have a
It's
podcast
helped me.
as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh shoot.
Podcast is dope.
Really?
She was on the Friend Zone when they did a live
Okay.
episode. Yeah, she did. She's dope. She's here in Atlanta. So I just want to talk about this just because, like, again, we getting into it and we can have open conversation.
Get into it.
Let's talk about how when y'all brought up the example of dating and how picking your therapist is like dating. So when you guys are dating, how open are you about your mental health?
I think I'm too
In your
open.
current state
Like
of mental
I'm
health.
so transparent. Like I can't lie.
I'm not as
about
open as I should be.
Nah,
Really?
Why not?
I'm just not. Like I have my moments where I want to
But
talk
what it
about
should
it.
be. Where are you at versus what it should be? Like, what is your idea of
Where I'm at right now is
Honestly,
I'm a little still.
So if it's
reserved.
100%, you probably about
I'm still.
76.
Yeah, I'm still.
But
reserved
you've been dating
sometimes.
a person for a minute.
Yeah, so
So
I
why
think that's
not?
why I.
Look,
What are you
I
trying
can't
to-
wait to
I
be
guess
like
that's
you
the
when I
question.
grow
But
up.
let me tell you, she may not have a mental illness. When I go into a situation, but I don't look at it as an illness. I
Okay.
just look at it
I
like,
think it's
yo,
more so. Wait, let me answer. I think it's not even more so me communicating something wrong with me. I think it's he knows, or I can look at him and be like, oh, I know some
so
shit.
y'all
wrong
know
with
versus you.
you. Yeah, it's not like okay, I don't have to
I
express
get
myself.
that. I
Like,
like that.
you can feel my energy because
Yeah.
if Jenna ain't right, ain't shit
know.
right, honestly.
I think everyone
You know what?
has that.
That's just me.
relationship. Yeah.
That's honestly how it is between me and him. If I'm not right.
That's like most women. If
No, that's
happy,
not
happy
like
wife,
most
happy
women.
life.
No,
No,
that's
no,
not
I
like
get
that.
that.
Because I don't walk around saying,
I know you don't.
Yeah, like,
I
it's
know
just
you like.
if my energy shuts down, I'm literally not doing shit. Like, don't ask
Ain't
me.
going to Cascade
Don't
skating.
ask me to make you a bag of fucking popcorn.
Ain't going to
Like,
Stone
I don't
Valley.
want to do nothing for you. It's not even for you specifically. I just don't want to do nothing because if you know me in my relationship, if you know me, I'm an acts of service type person.
That's your love language.
So yeah, I do stuff. Like I just do stuff. Like, I don't mind. Hey, friend.
He want a bag of
So
popcorn.
I don't mind doing stuff. So if Jenna is reserved and she don't feel like doing nothing, something is wrong. And
Yeah.
like he can pick up on that.
So your question is, what in relationship?
Well, I mean, no, I'm saying just in dating in general. So say you meet somebody. For me, I'll just start off with me as an example. When I meet someone or I'm dating someone, like within that first 2 weeks, I'm gonna let you know, like this is what you have, and you have an opportunity to remove yourself from that.
Immediately.
So what do you say?
So
What
like,
is that
I mean,
conversation
I have a
like?
therapist. Sometimes I battle off and on with depression. I get sad. If you ask me how my day is going, I'm gonna tell you that shit rough as fuck. I had a
Listen.
bad day. You know what I mean? Like that's it.
No, for real.
For real, like if you ask me, I'll be like, friend, it is rough.
Yeah.
But I'm alive. Do I not say that? Like,
Yes.
but in terms of dating, like, I'm gonna let you know, like, you have a therapist, I see one.
I feel like
And I don't feel
but
like that's a big deal.
No,
Yeah.
I've been in
Well,
situations
some-
where that
yeah.
has caused an awkward silence,
Yeah.
or it's awkward, like, or you know what I mean, or like,
So
I've
what
had
I feel like that has more to do with
the
them
person.
than it does you.
However,
I like that when somebody's like,
some
oh,
people
I'm
don't.
going to a
Yeah,
therapist.
well,
It depends on what you want your therapist for now.
Now you ain't gotta know all that, friend.
So what you going to therapy?
No.
Everybody got demons.
No, if you dealing with the fact
Everybody
trying
got
to
demons.
overcome the fact that you done
And
shot
then
to kill
demons.
somebody, I can't fuck with you.
Okay,
You're not trying to
but
kill
what
me.
I'm saying is like, okay.
No, dead ass.
We-
Dead ass.
But we in our age range,
Uh-huh.
in our community, we're in Atlanta. We in a city where it's like it's a lot going on.
Right.
So when you meet somebody, that's what I'm saying. How open are you with that person dating, whether it's a Tinder date?
Well,
Bumble,
the thing
so
is, like,
how open are you?
I think it also
about
depends
your
on
mental health?
like your vibe with that person because you can feel a person is like.
So
they
it's
open
dependent
up.
on the
That's
vibe.
why I
Yeah,
said
cause
what I
remember,
said,
you remember that
you
night
can
during
tell.
homecoming when like me, you,
Yeah.
Kill, and Bree we had that conversation, and you know
Yeah.
it was a very deep and open conversation. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
And I never met your brother.
yeah, like.
And you never met my best friend. And y'all, we literally talked for almost 5 hours.
Yeah,
Like,
and the
just
thing
about
is,
everything.
like, you can feel those vibes. So, like, I'll bet, like, I know it's some girls I can meet, like, I'll bet I can tell, like,
They ain't worth
shorty,
it.
we ain't even gonna be here for the next hour, honestly. But, you know, like, but then there's some people who is out there, like, all right, her vibe, cool, you know, like, you know when you can open up. It's like, and so I think it's just, every situation is different. And so,
So
for me.
should you or should you not tell a person that you're dating that you are?
Yeah, that's a hands down.
Everybody's definition of dating is different. Are you talking about somebody that you
I was
just...
just saying,
But-
shit. If you want to date right now,
Mhm.
first time meeting, are you telling me?
No.
No.
Okay.
Y'all might not see you no more.
Because I've told people, and necessarily, it may not have been someone that I was dating, but it could have came up and they would respond, "Oh, so you crazy? That's the worst."
But no, but
That's
women
not
but nah,
somebody.
y'all do that a lot, cause I think that's just something that like people say that, and it's almost become like it's just the same.
I mean,
Oh, so
if
you
somebody
crazy.
tell me they're in Aquarius or
Like, cause the first thing when I say
Right.
like, oh, I'm a Gemini. Oh, so you crazy?
But here's the difference.
Right.
But the
If
difference is
you
the
talking
stigma.
about a zodiac versus therapy. That's totally different.
Well, then I can say, well, then at that case, oh, well, you're of African descent. You off bad dealing with trauma.
I mean, people.
Like,
But that's the truth.
but
Some truth to it.
But my thing is, so like, what I'm saying is like off bat, like everybody not, cause I know some black people who don't even identify, like not saying they don't identify as black, but they like, they don't admit, and they're like, I've never dealt with any racism, I never struggled, I never did. I dated someone who was like that, and I went through like my life. I went through so much.
Yeah.
By the time I was 15,
Yeah.
I probably went to more funerals than my own age.
Right.
Like, and so I went through a lot, and so when I dated someone who like, she called me like, honestly, like, I feel so bad for you because like I've never went through anything.
Yeah.
Like I never went through anything hard or dealt with any racism or anything. Like never. And you would think that she was Caucasian. She's a black girl, and she said she never dealt with anything. No, but what I'm saying is not the same thing we do. Not the same thing that we go through, and
Right.
on a day-to-day basis, they don't. So not saying they don't struggle, but not on a day-to-day basis, you gotta deal with it.
And I think that's what we have to be careful too, because I think that's in our culture where it's like, oh, you're crazy, and then that shuts down the person from ever wanting to express themselves because they don't want to be labeled. So when we talked about the stigmas in our Black community, I think that's why we have one of the cultures that don't talk about it enough is because we don't want to be labeled as crazy, and it's because it's not a norm thing. So the moment you come out and say, well, I'm going through this, it's like, oh, she must got this, and because I literally know someone in my group that she's schizophrenic, she's bipolar, and she's depression and anxiety. You look at her, you would never know.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was reading about schizophrenia and I read that in our culture that has a lot to do with generational shit, slavery, things that like
And
were
it makes
untouched,
perfect sense.
racism,
It makes perfect sense.
Like the civil rights
And
era.
another thing that happens,
crisis at
Yes.
all.
and another thing that happens in our Black community that I feel like deals with like mental illness or mental trauma, and that can lead to schizophrenia or depression, all that stuff, is having a family member or somebody close to you molest you, and then you're told keep it under wraps. If not, that plays on a young kid's mind. You know what I'm saying?
I think that probably is a lot of, when I do my retreats, a lot of people, not a lot, but a good amount of the attendees, if they've had something go on and you ask them to go back, a lot of it has to do with childhood abuse, sexual abuse. That is something that we also do not talk about, that show up in later years. That's like,
you look at expression and like how someone expresses themselves, and then when you're trying to figure out like what's weird to you, it's not necessarily weird. It's just how they combat what they haven't healed.
Because I say it all the time, like when you date somebody, a lot of times you're not even dating them. You're literally dating their parents. Because like
the representative,
and that's what you're dating. So sometimes you have to be able to identify that, acknowledge it, and the hardest part is getting that person to realize it. And when they realize, like, wow, I'm more like my mom than I thought, and you probably hate your mom or hate your daddy, and you're literally a reflection of them. And so, like in relationships, what I find is like, and I see on Twitter a lot of people like, oh, he was raised without a daddy, he was raised without a mom. Well, you can't necessarily pinpoint it because, like, and not saying for myself because I have my mom, but for a guy who, for instance, for a guy who was raised and his mom abandoned him, and all he had was his dad.
Yeah.
So you have one side where he gets extremely close with women and trusts them far too soon than he should because his mom wasn't there, or he is completely combative with women. He pushes them away because his mom left him. So like, it's hard to be able to say, well, oh, you could tell his daddy wasn't out, so you could tell he didn't have his mom.
Which is totally
and it's like, and the fact that you like, you categorize people and you want to put everybody in this group, and it's like you don't have no clue. Like for me, like I feel like I had the utmost love for my mom. So for me, I never feel the need to look for it anywhere else in another woman. Even though she's dead now, like I don't feel the need to feel it. I know what love absolutely felt like. It's gone out. I know what it felt like.
So that really goes into like how you.
Yeah, and so now when I date women, like I ain't really dating you because of love. Like it's a business move, and then I'll grow to love my business partner. Because I don't honestly like, and this is off subject, but like, I don't want no girl. If I ask a girl, why you with me? The first thing you say, well, because I love you. You in this for the wrong reason. I don't want to be with no girl because she loves me, because that's an emotion. Emotion that goes anywhere.
But it's an emotion that you already received.
But I don't. But that's not what. But at the end of the day, if that's why you with me, because I love you.
So what was you feeling like? What he feeling like?
I don't.
We're not gonna tag him. No,
I'm not attacking. I'm asking the question. What do you want her to say?
Okay, so let's do dialogue. Let's do dialogue. Ask me. Come on, let's do dialogue. Let's play.
Jenna, why you with me?
Because I love you, Malcolm.
Is that it? That's why you with me, because you love me?
Okay, so
but
what
what happened when you don't love me?
Because I'm about to shut down and then tell me, is that why you love me?
That's why you with me, because you love me?
Okay, so what you want me to say?
People, right?
But what do you want me to say?
What do you
want somebody to say in response?
My thing is, it's not about what I want you to say. It's about what I don't want you to be with me for.
Okay, so
if you with me because we love each other, bro, it's time people wake up and feel a different emotion.
But why do you love me? Like,
but people say that, and that's the thing. People really are with each other. They're like, they can be dead broke, and we dead broke in this trailer together because we love each other. You a clown. I don't want to be with no clown. I don't want to be with you.
So what do you want a person to say?
Because
I trust you, because I know we can build on something together, because I know you get out here and hustle.
Yeah, like, give me attributes of how we can grow.
Okay, so you want me to say some shit like, I admire how you get out here and hustle and make a dollar. Because I know that we can build an empire together. If that's
so you're saying it's way past love.
It's deeper than love. I'd rather have a girl. Because this thing, like, I'd rather be with someone, honestly, I'd rather be with someone who's loyal to me versus who love. And sometimes people think love and loyalty have to coexist. But I'd rather have a homeboy who's loyal to me than one that love me, because I know one who's loyal to me, he gonna take, if something happens between me and us, he gonna take that because he's loyal to me. A person that love you say, I love you, but I ain't doing that. People with love is always a but. With loyalty is no but. It's stand on that. You know what I'm saying? Loyalty stand on that.
Everything.
But as far as that, like as relationships go, I feel like people, like I said before, you're dating people. When you date people, you're only dating their parents. You're dating their environment that they were raised in. That's why I said earlier, like at the beginning of the episode, people got to start getting checked. And a lot of times, like I won't deal with a girl who constantly is in relationships because I know you were hurt. I know you were.
But someone could lie to you and tell you that they only been in one relationship.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Even if you've been in one relationship, when the last time you said you was in a relationship last year, have you been to a therapist since then?
Do we need to?
Do you need to? Yeah, you might need to, because when you get on social media and brag about being crazy, you might need to.
But
because
that's not for everybody. That's not applicable for everybody.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's why I was saying for me. For me, I would rather deal with a girl who can acknowledge and can recognize that she's been hurt and instead of rushing to the next person, because a lot of people don't even realize they're rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are rebounds. You've been in a relationship for 5 years. You still the rebound, and you wonder why y'all have problems, because that individual was torn and broken before they got with you. And now, all you did was bring that baggage on into your next relationship before you got healed. So before you build, you need to heal.
So is therapy important for healing for everyone, or do you feel like...
No, but the thing is,
therapy... That's for all y'all. Do you feel like a person can heal without therapy?
This is the thing. Therapy doesn't mean another person. Therapy is what helps you heal. It's not just talking to, oh, well, you're a therapist. Just because you're a therapist don't mean you provide good therapy for me. My therapy might be working out. My therapy, you have to find what brings you peace and what helps you heal. Therapy isn't just talking to another person.
Yeah.
I can find my therapy 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
And whatever may help, whatever. Me personally, like, I never went and saw a therapist. There's some people who, and a lot of people like, damn, like he kind of got over that quick. It's not that I got over it. I learned how to manage with it better.
That's why I said
quick, you know, like, and I never went and saw a therapist, but I know people who their dad died 7 years ago, and they still going through it crazy, and they see a therapist, but it's how like I dealt with
people mask it.
Yeah, like, and some people just heal. Some people heal faster. Like, you can get cut on your leg, I get cut on mine. I'm probably gonna heal faster than yours. My scar probably heal faster. So some people just heal faster. Some people deal with it differently. Some people find therapy and seek therapy in other ways other than talking to actual therapists.
Yeah, I would say for me, I said I got diagnosed in 2016. I didn't get a therapist until 2019.
Ooh.
Wow. With the group, girl.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, because in my mind I thought, okay, let's get I got a good, you know,
let's
I
get your experience.
Yeah, I got a good handle on it. But I found, similar to what he was saying, I found different outlets that I did. So the group was therapy for me because I felt like for the first time God was using me. So that was one of the things I said I struggled with. I didn't feel like I was being used. So the minute God was like, okay, I'm gonna turn your pain into your purpose, I was like, okay, God, so if I have to go through this to be a blessing to others, I'll go through it. So for me, it wasn't necessarily having a therapist at that time, but I also wasn't that knowledgeable on how good a therapist could be in it. And I tried to find one, and then I got discouraged. I was like, But God placed a therapist in my life when I didn't even think I needed
everything
one,
happened in perfect time.
It happened in perfect time. So I created my mental health planner. I didn't go to therapy for that, but I created it in a sense of let me write down what I feel like I would have needed when I was going through. So it would have been good to be able to write my feelings down and write my moves down. And so that's why I created my mental health planner to help other people. Working out for me has been a huge thing.
That's your outlet.
That is my outlet. And so I can go to therapy now and still have my outlet, but at the time I just had my outlet. And if I didn't have an outlet, I was just coping. And we all learn how to cope. We learn how to put on a different face.
Absolutely.
We learn how to suppress feelings. We learn how to not deal with the hard stuff. And it's not until someone forces you to bring all that stuff to the table that you really realize, okay, I may have thought I was healed, but maybe I ain't.
But I
really
think your body and mind does that subconsciously where it wants to heal. And so one of the healing mechanisms is let me shut down, let me suppress it. You know, if it's you know, a lot of people are the type where they say out of sight, out of mind. Well, with feelings, a lot of times feelings work the same way, where it's like you suppress it, but it's only so long you can suppress it, because what then happens is you start building different personalities according to how you're feeling, and next thing you know, like, I'm not saying you're schizophrenic, but you have multiple personalities that respond to other people's words and actions, and so like you'll say something and I'll be cool. You say damn near the same thing, and I flip off. And so like, and I can't stress enough, and that's why I feel like it's extremely important for people when they involve themselves with other entities, or other people, and spirits and vibrations and energies. What you need to do is you have to heal yourself first, because I see a lot of people go from relationship to relationship, and it's like, damn, I see some girl, I'm like, damn, she was just with such and such. And then you get time span, you done had 4 or 5 boyfriends, and that nigga that you was mad in love with, when did you take time to yourself, to love yourself and heal yourself? And it's extremely important. And I think that for us, it's not that we lack the ability to do so, we don't care enough to do so, because before we heal, we're so ready to be like, you know, we use other people as vessels for healing, and that's where we fall short, you know, and we fuck up by doing that, because how I'm gonna look for healing in you, you know, like that's within inside you, and
we look to other people for our happiness.
Yeah, and it's like if you dating somebody, then you say, okay, well, we done, but this cat done did all this, and then now it's like, oh, now Malcolm dealing with her, I'm dealing with the her that you dealt with him, and you done got so used, you done spent 28 years learning how to suppress it, that it may take me 2 years to even realize that I ain't dating you, I'm dating the hurt of that nigga that you was dating.
Yeah.
And now you already deep, you love that person, and that's why relationships become so toxic, because damn, the ideal of that person is amazing. What you're actually receiving is what's toxic. What you're actually receiving is negative, because they literally they giving you what that person gave them, and it takes years to recognize it sometimes. And I think once that both parties can identify it and willing to acknowledge it, is when you say, okay, wow, like, I do love you. I know you love me. I didn't realize I was being this way because of A, B, and C. This is how I perceived you, even though you didn't recognize it. But now that we're able to acknowledge it, we're able to see it now. It's like now you can start changing. But for so long, it takes sometimes. That's why people are like, well, you know a person off back. In some cases, but in some cases, you could be with a person for 5 years and never know them, because they were good at masking it, and it's not their fault. They were taught through social conditioning how to mask it.
No, I
you know what I'm saying?
And I think we all have our brokenness, right? I think everyone has their brokenness, and in relationships, you don't know that right off, right? No one comes and be like, hey, let me tell you everything that's broken about me. But what I've learned from my experience is it's too hard to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's literally
how I go.
I don't know who you are. Like, if you're trying to get with me, like in any situation where you want to date me,
I'm just keep it G with you.
I'm gonna tell you so you can have this opportunity when you go the fuck home.
Block
me. Don't talk to me, because that's just how I.
And I'm gonna give you that opportunity.
I'm gonna give you that opportunity.
Now, if you stay,
that's.
And I'll slap you in the face with little chocolate
trauma.
With a little trauma.
With a little
chocolate. And I slap you in the face with a damn slide. Now.
But that's me.
Petty bitch.
But no, that's just me, because like that's the introduction to it. I don't have time to waste, because I could go on a date with you today and die in the morning.
So
like, not to be super dramatic, but you know what I mean? Like,
so before we close this episode, Sheree, did you have like any final words, anything that you wanted to say or share, or any like resources or outlets that people can utilize? After listening to this episode.
Yeah, so my support group on Facebook is Not Built to Break. It is a support group again. It's private, so I invite anyone to come, any women of color, anybody really, women, to come and to join us. Again, I have a mental health support website. It's www.mentalhealthislove.com, where I have my affirmations, my self-love affirmations, t-shirts, my journals as well. And I think this conversation is important. So I think the only thing that I would want to get out is to continue the conversation, to ask people how they're doing, and not just like, oh, how you doing, but like, how is your mood today? How are you feeling? you know, dig a little bit deeper with your friends and really trying to figure out where they are. Just asking someone, hey, how you doing? It's just not good enough anymore.
Because the first response you're gonna get, how are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm good. And that's such a freaking conditioned answer. Like we're literally trained to say I'm good instead of answering like not like. And it's been times I said, bro, how you doing today, bro? Oh, I'm good. No, I said, no, how are you really feeling? Think about it. Because you responded too fast.
It's also verbiage. So I learned this. I'm in a lot of like mom groups on like Facebook. And I saw this post about like different questions you can ask your kids about how their day was. But I've started applying it to my friends and to grown people because like you'll straight up like your Maya gets in the car from school and I'm like, what did you learn today? How was your day? And she's like, I don't know, I learned nothing. But then I ask questions like, what made you happy today?
Yeah.
But
you are like that because I noticed like when we text, you're like that, and we be like that. And I'm like, like, how's your friend? How was your morning?
I'm not even gonna flex. When I get them questions, I'll be like, okay.
No, but it
matters. People asking that because
it changes the dynamic
because it also it's something to look at for yourself and ask yourself, why can I dive a little bit deeper?
Go deeper.
And it could be because what you just expressed.
What the fuck made you happy today? Like, what made you happy? What made you sad? Is there anything that you learned today that you didn't get yesterday? Like these were questions on like a fucking parent group chat, like about it's like black moms with toddlers or something like that. But I apply it to adults, and we should apply those different questions because how are you and what are you doing and how goes it? Like those are general fucking questions that we cannot dive into.
And you're gonna get a generic answer.
And I'm gonna give you, I'm good, I'm straight, I'm coolin'. But like, shit. Why are you just that? Like, right, like tell me how you feel because now I can apply levels to our friendship.
Yeah. And I would say, too, it's important to also just be, you know, not everyone is going to be transparent. Not everyone is there in their own journey.
They haven't reached that point.
So you also have to, you know, issue people some compassion and some understanding that, hey, you may not be there, but I would just tell people it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to seek therapy. It's okay
to feel how you feel
and to talk about it. And even if you don't talk about it, find whatever it is that you feel like can get it out. I think the best thing is always just expressing what you're going through, whether it's on paper, whether you're talking to somebody. Getting that out really releases whatever it is that you're going through. And I think we as a society have to do better with supporting people when we notice that they haven't been on social media or when you notice you haven't heard from a person. Just noticing the little signs, and I always tell people it's always just good just for yourself to get educated so you can understand the differences between someone just being sad and then someone maybe having depression because they're different. Some people, just because you're sad doesn't mean you're depressed. Just because you got it, you know, so you have to understand those differences on, this is one thing, but no, this may be something a little bit different, right? And just supporting your friends in whatever decision that they try to make. Relationships, I feel like, are always a big thing that causes a lot of people to kind of battle with depression depending upon different types of relationships in their lives. So I think also identifying those relationships that may be, I guess maybe troubling for you right now and trying to get to that root cause on why this relationship is doing this for you. And I think the biggest thing is getting down to whatever issue at its core, because the surface level is not going to change until you really dig deep and get down to what is really happening in your life. And that's tough. No one really wants to talk about those vulnerable, tough spots that are really affecting you. So it doesn't happen overnight. Like I said, it took me 3 years to get a therapist. So I can't say, oh my God, get one right away. But when it's time, you'll know, like, hey, there's nowhere else for me to turn. I think in that time, that's when you seek some professional help, and knowing that it is a journey just like any other relationship with your doctor. There's nothing wrong with it. For my black men, continue to you know, we as black women want to pour into you, and I think we as black women also want black men to pour back into us.
But what I do, I will say this, like, and there are some, but a lot of times, and I'm just coming from my point of view, we'll get bashed or will be criticized for showing emotion, and it comes from women, our generation, from younger women. It's like you get called soft, and you get called the P word, and it's like, damn, like, and if you're not getting called into your face, best believe if you cried, you got talked about in a group meet. But why? I'm a human. I should be able to show emotions.
Yeah.
And why should I have to have restraint on my emotions when you don't? When our counterpartners don't have restraint on emotions, you can show it and be proud that, like, hey, I'm upset, hey, I'm angry, hey, I'm crazy, whatever.
It's accountability.
Yeah, like being able to say, because you should.
General.
Yeah.
And also, when people respond to you, you have to be careful when you're responding to someone that has been transparent. Just be careful of your words, you know. So we talk about those crazy, like you said with your mother, certain things can be triggers. And we also understand people may not be doing it to be malicious, and that's what I get about my parents. They just don't know any better. So that's your time to educate them, right? So I always tell them, when you call me crazy, I'm going to educate you on this, because I could be depressed and go through this and still feel like, but I'm not crazy. You know, I may have demons in my mind that may be telling me different things.
Everyone does.
But I don't label myself as crazy. So if you are going through some type of mental illness, just know, one, you're not alone. You're not crazy. You can overcome it, whether that means you need medication. I always say, if you need medication, you need medication. Ain't nothing wrong with taking no medication if you need it. If you got thyroid issues, you gotta take medication. If that's what you need, if that's what you personally need to feel better about yourself, to each his own. Everybody has a different, will have a different walk with however they choose to incorporate. But we all know there are going to be traumas in our life. There's things to come where we're going to need somebody to help us, support us in getting through it. So if it's not our friends, if it's not our family, why not someone else that you can trust that may not be biased to your person, whether that be a pastor, whether that be someone at work, just finding that confidant that you can really express yourself to. I would encourage everybody to have that person, whether it's someone you pay or someone you don't. Just having that, I think, will continue to support us in our journey as we get older and we go through things. But I think, again, having conversations like this, so kudos to you, Antonio, and the rest of you all for having this and for having me.
Thank you for being here.
So, thank you.
We really appreciate you for coming.
Yeah.
That was, like, this conversation, we did kind of like, we killed the time, like, for real, like. But honestly, like, it's a conversation that we needed it, and I don't know how you feel, Antonio, but like, if we could all just quickly, literally, 1 or 2 sentences or less, like, tell everybody like what today made you feel like, or what made you happy today, or.
For me, I feel like just having this dialogue, period, because a lot of times we don't talk about this amongst it. When we get together, we bullshit and talk about what's going on social media. The fact that we're able to come together and acknowledge and bring to light, shed light on something that's so detrimental to the black community. I appreciate it. Like, I'm happy leaving it. And I gotta go to work after this.
Oh, you do? Thank you.
So what made me happy today, and I'm glad this is something that I have to do with myself, honestly, was someone just that reached out to me as a check-in. That made me happy, because sometimes I feel like people I pour in, they don't pour back. So actually, one of my line sisters just randomly text me, hey, I saw your retreat went great, like a little small text. And so something small like that, it brought me out of the darkness for the day.
Well, I'm just glad that we're just able to be in an open, safe space to discuss this, and I know that when this airs or when it's posted, that it'll spark more conversations like this amongst other young black people or just people in general, so they can actually get their group of people that they trust and to express themselves, so they don't feel like they're battling depression or battling something alone.
So what made you happy today?
I just said what made me happy.
That's what made Okay, my man, dog. Forgive me.
Let me go, because we on time. What made me happy today? A couple of my love languages were spoken to. I conquered a fear today, which meant a lot to me because it's been a long time fear, 28. So the fear started at 9 years old. So that was one thing, just overcoming and feeling the ability to finally exhale and get through fear. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But no, it's like when you're scared of something, you holding your breath for a long time. So finally today, like I got to finally exhale and let go of something. So that's what made me happy today.
Okay. Big Jenna.
What made me happy today?
That glass of wine. Who?
This wine.
This You want to hug?
What made me happy today was I was able to work towards progress in my career, furthering my career.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So that's it got great feedback on it. So
And your verse nice.
thank you so much, my homeboy Byron Dale.
Little down now. You just don't know.
That's what made me happy today.
All right.
Being able
We
to
are
further
happy
my
that you're
career.
happy. There we go.
Well, we'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to our second visual episode of Crown Conversations. The link up. Again, subscribe to us, like us, leave comments, subscribe to our Instagram page, Crown Conversations Podcast. That's on Instagram.
We're on all streaming sites.
We're on all streaming
Spotify.
sites.
What else?
So Spotify,
Apple Podcasts.
Spotify, Apple, Radio,
SoundCloud.
everything. And then also follow us on Twitter at Crown Convos Pod. And then again, subscribe to us, and we gonna
And
enjoy
shout
the
out
show.
to our videographer.
Big down. Big down.
Look, put a little tag.
Put your little tag in the bottom. We never got it.
Shout out to send us your rates. Shout out to you. You really made this episode happen.
Thank you. We
behind the
appreciate
scenes
it.
are good.
We
We do.
appreciate it. Thank you so much. Peace out, y'all.
All right, bye.